Hey there, YouTube. I'm going to do a quick review here of my 2008 Harley Street Glide. Um, this will be just a quick overview of why, if I only had one street bike, this would be my street bike. Now, I came from I started riding in the 80s, actually the 70s with dirt bikes, but 80s when I got my first street bike. And then Harleys were known to be of questionable reliability. So that's how I grew up. I hated Harleys. I thought they were not reliable. I thought they were always broken. They leaked oil. You needed to rebuild the engine all the time. And I'm going to tell you from personal experience on this Street Glide, that is no longer the case. This bike has 83,242 miles. It has been a picture of reliability. It is an unopened engine. It's never had the engine apart. I did a clutch at 60,000 miles, and that's it. Nothing else is ever broken of any reasonable concern. The front wheel bearings went and the rotors went on the original wheel. This is a 2008. I found a 2013 front wheel used. Put that on. This is a 2008. I believe it has the newer brakes in '08 that carried on to the new frame model in 2009. So that was a direct bolt on. Nothing was needed. The rear tire, wheel bearings are still original. It still has the tiny little 130 or 140 tire in the rear, but they last a long time. I kind of wish I had an '09 with the new frame, but when it comes to reliability, I can't complain. This has the 96 cubic inch and a 6-speed. It's a Harley. It is not made to go super fast, but it's torquey, and it's like driving an old school V8 from this like 70s or 80s, where it just pulls wherever you need it to pull. Has no problem in any speed, and realistically, I don't need to go any faster than this. If I had this motor in my GSXR, it'd be a little bummer, but this is the bike I default to almost every single time I ride, especially if the weather's kind of crappy. This Batwing fairing, which, you know what, I'll go back. I hated these bikes. I remember thinking, I don't want to own a couch. I'm not an old man. Like, I don't need a touring bike. And then I bought my night train that's in the garage over here, which, as you can see, I haven't even taken out or washed this year. And I thought this was the coolest bike ever because it was like lack of chrome, and I loved this thing. I have 30,000 miles on this too. Never been apart, never broken. But then my friend bought a Street Glide, and I rode that, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing is it's cheating. On a cold day, like, this is the only thing I ride. Like, it's only April 25th now, and it's been a little chilly. Except for like one or two rides, this is the bike I go to every time. Why? You sit behind this windshield. Your handlebars are right here. That's why I haven't raised the handlebars. They are blocked from the wind. In 40-degree weather, I can go out wearing mechanics gloves and never get cold. I kind of wish they were a little higher, but I'm not changing them. I can see out the mirrors, which I think are really cool. And it just gives you so much wind protection. I've added this little flip and only about an inch taller windshield. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", and the wind hits me right in the forehead. A little higher would probably be better, but I kind of like the look of this, so I can deal with it. Like I said, 83,000 miles. We turn down the volume here a little bit so you don't get annoyed. But it has everything you need, all right? Now, this is a no ABS model. This is a pretty base Street Glide. You have your fuel. You got the air temperature, which is a little low always. Speedometer, which you can toggle to your trip odometer and your range. So I have 173 miles left at just a half a tank. It holds, I think, almost 7 gallons of fuel, and like when I go riding, like, I never need gas before anybody else. Voltmeter, which is nice, but I also added that to a little digital voltmeter here that has USB cords so I can charge things. I put my Garmin there, and oil pressure gauge. Everything you need. Plus, I have an aftermarket radio with hog-tuned speakers, and you can toggle through. You have radio, I can go to Bluetooth, hook it to my phone. Turn up the volume, turn down the volume. Really, what else do you need? This thing is just cheating. It's just such a nice place to be. If I could only have one street bike, this would be it. I have no problem. It handles surprisingly well for how big it is. I did change to these bars because one time I hit the stock bars on in a hard turn. Now, granted, I had the foot pegs really folded over when I hit it, but it levered the front end off the ground, and I drove home, took it off, and never rode it again until I changed that bar. The stock one, maybe my suspension's a little old after 80,000 miles, but when I hit, that was terrifying. Put on an aftermarket cheap LED headlight, and this bike just runs. It doesn't burn any oil. It just runs. I have the Screaming Eagle exhaust, and it hasn't been tuned other than that, which just causes for the reliability. The seat is actually, my seat was worn out, so I got this off of 2015. It was a takeoff. Some guy went to a King Queen seat and offered this locally, so I picked it up, and it's held up for 20,000 miles and looks brand new. If you're afraid of a high mileage Harley, and like I said, I'm in the Northeast, I'm in New Jersey, you don't see bikes with a lot of miles. People here have a very short riding season. I'm sure if you're out in California, Florida, you see a lot more miles on bikes. I don't wash this thing all the time. I ride this thing. It has the standard forks that look like crap, but it just runs. The bags are awesome. I haven't cleaned them out or anything, but just having the ability to put stuff in here, some tools, whatever you want, fill it up with some beers and a cooler on a road trip. It's just a great place to be. So I just bought a GoPro setup, so I'm thinking of trying to do a ride on a couple bikes. If that seems interesting, let me know. If not, I'll just stick with the reviews as I do them. Thanks. Any questions, put it in the comments. Give it a start. Just a nice place to be.